You will never reach your goals. You are doomed to fail over and over again with your goals just out of arm's reach. And you feel hopeless, like everything is just futile and there's no point. But then you suck it up and you stop playing the victim. You don't let life decide your fate, or at least that's what Isagi did. In this video, I'll be peeling back the layers of Yoichi Isagi, the main character from Blue Lock, showcasing how he constantly evolves throughout the entire series. And we'll be taking a deeper look at how he goes through this process of constantly evolving. And at the end of the video, I'll be breaking down how these two pieces work together and how they hold the key to your own evolution. Hey, what's going on? My name is Nate, the Liberated Otaku, and my mission is to help equip my fellow Christian anime lovers with the tools they need to break free from these limiting beliefs and to fully step into everything that they were called to be. So what makes Isagi special isn't really all that special at all. Isagi's growth in of itself isn't something to write home about. I mean, we all get better at things that we, do enough time, put in enough reps, we're bound to get better. But what makes him different is how he gets better. Like I mentioned before, Isagi was the second worst player in the entire, franchise, entirety of Blue Lock. And now he's one of the best of the best. So how did this happen? Was it some overnight sensation? No. Did he bribe the other players to make him look good? No. Did he work harder than everyone else? Not harder per se, but I will say he was more intentional about how he trained. See, Isagi is one of those people who is keenly aware of his strengths and of his weaknesses. And this by itself, honestly, it's its own superpower. Having enough self-awareness to not only identify your weaknesses, but to strive to improve them, it puts you on an entirely different level. And that's the level that Isagi's on. And honestly, it's something that more players within the series should strive to have, because this is the reason that he is overtaking them so quickly. The key here is that he doesn't try to fix all of his shortcomings all at once. He improves them little by little. He unknowingly actually embracing the concept of Kaizen. No, not Jujutsu Kaizen, but Kaizen, which literally translates to good change, but it's been more commonly known or recognized to mean continuous improvement. And this methodology or this concept was first introduced after World War II, and because mostly in part to the Toyota company, and the methodology worked so well that more people started to adapt it to their businesses and eventually to lifestyles all around. So it boils down to taking one big goal and breaking it down into small steps or processes that can be improved upon over time. And for Isagi, it looks kind of like this. So his big goal is to be the best striker in the world, which is why he's there, is why he's there at Blue Lock. And the small steps that he takes is one, improving his strengths, improving his weapons, so his spatial awareness and his direct shot, while also eliminating his weaknesses, which are his weaker frame and the predictability of his shots in his gameplay by those who are on his level or above him, because he's easily predictable, as you see multiple times throughout the series. And what I want you to really understand, that improvement isn't just this linear path. It doesn't just go straight up, but it has a lot of peaks and valleys. And to be quite frank, some of us won't ever get out of the valleys because, it's not because we don't want to, because I truly find it hard to believe that there's anybody out there who doesn't want to improve themselves. But what oftentimes holds us back is a combination of things. So one, either the goals you set they seem way too big for you, so you get intimidated from even trying to start or trying to get out of the rut, or goals are too small, so you're not really motivated to do it because it's, I don't know, insignificant, I guess. No, or maybe you're the third option. Maybe you're someone who's complacent where you are and thinking that you can just rest in that place forever. Well, they'd break it to you. You're wrong, because there will always be someone out there who is just better than you. I know. It sucks. It sucks a lot. It sucks knowing that when you put so much effort into improving yourself and improving your skill, your craft, your business, that there's always going to be somebody out there who's just better, right? There's no rhyme or reason. They can work just as hard as you. They could be blessed with the same resources as you, but they could just have a different mindset, a different attitude about it. Honestly, this is the stuff I wish I had some years ago. I mean, I like to sit back and think exactly how much further along would I be in the things that I'm trying to work on. Had I not given up, had I not just gotten in my head and took my foot off the gas. I mean, I quit learning Spanish so many times in the past, and I think about now, okay, had I not quit then, maybe now I could finally have a conversation with my girlfriend in her native language and with her parents without needing a translator or talking to a phone through Google Translate. And it honestly, it bothers me now that I didn't take the time to do that before. Or maybe about my business. Maybe I'd finally have the financial freedom that I'm looking for had I not stop and start all the time and actually stuck something out for once. And maybe you resonate with this too. What are the things that you let die out because you didn't want to put forth the effort? You didn't want to fight through the pain, fight through the valley, and climb yourself back up. For me, I didn't have the hunger I needed to succeed, but Isagi does. Because despite having an easy shot to guarantee his place in Blue Lock, he decided instead to go after the top dog in their little group, going after the best of the best, because Isagi understands that if you want to be the best, then you have to beat the best. The crazy thing is he is willing to challenge himself despite the odds being stacked against him, despite going against people who he knows for a fact are better than him. And honestly, sometimes he feels inadequate and he's constantly doubting himself, which for me really humanizes the character and makes it even more relatable, because no matter how confident somebody may seem on the surface, at some point in their life, even in the midst of their success, they're going to have these doubts. They're going to have this comparison, because it's just human nature, in all honesty. As badly as we want to improve, we can't help but feel small sometimes. I mean, for Isagi, he first saw the difference in skill himself again this first time against Baro and Nagi in the first selection. I mean, Baro just was a dominant force on the field and just completely obliterated Isagi and his team. And we all know Nagi for being the genius that he is. And honestly, he's still one of the most unreal players in the series. And think about that from Isagi's perspective, right? He's going against these monsters all the time, but yet he never really wavers, right? He has these moments here and there, but he quickly snaps himself out of it. Even against total prodigies like Rin, who's arguably still one of the best players in the series, and Isagi just takes the challenge head on. And both times, well, I guess all three times really, Isagi felt outmatched, but he doesn't let it scare him. He understood that challenge is necessary for change. So what's stopping you from changing? From, I don't know, asking that girl out, from applying for that job that you don't feel qualified for, from starting that business that you had in your head for 10 years now. What's stopping you? Well, the answer is simple. You lack a strong ego. And yes, I know Blue Lock video, ego, yes, it all comes hand in hand. And right now I can hear the keyboard warriors typing in the chat. It's like, oh, you're a Christian talking about, having an ego. That's bad and sinful and blah, 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 blah. Look, thank you for watching the video. Appreciate your feedback. But what I really want you to actually understand and hear the whole picture, because I promise you might understand it or you might not. But I'm talking about ego. I'm not talking about the Freudian definition of it. It's like, the conscious, super conscious ego, things like that. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about how Blue Lock defines it, which is at the base level, just your desires, the things that you want, the things that you, desire, right? And it goes beyond just your desires, but also your intentions behind it. Like, are you willing to actually see these things through and to claim the things that you say that you want? So yes, it's okay to have desires. We just can't be consumed by them. We can't be owned by the things that we want. But in this concept as a whole is pounded into the skull of every Blue Locker for them to fully and selfishly pursue their desires no matter the cost. And I'm not saying for us to go that far, because again, remember, this is a cartoon, this is a show. But what I've learned from this mindset is that you will never get what you want out of life by being timid and afraid, and being afraid to actually pursue it. And yes, God blesses us with the things that he wants us to have, but sometimes that requires us to actually be in the right position to receive it. And that being in the right position means we have to actually get up off our butts and do something, right? We can't be stagnant. We have to move. And in Blue Lock, this idea of being in the right place at the right time is depicted as, luck. Being in the right position allowed Ren to score the winning goal against his rematch with Isagi. And Isagi himself used the very same tactic to score the winning goal in the U20 match. And both of those times showcases, with all the skills and talent that you have, sometimes it just requires you to be in the right position. But as for us, we'll never be in the right position if we are unwilling to do what it takes to get there, to truly follow the desires that God has given us. But now that you have a better understanding of the pieces of Kaizen and ego, let's look at how Isagi actually put them together to become the monster of adaptation that he is. So to go from one of the weakest to one of the strongest isn't exactly an easy task for anybody in any scenario, even if you are the main character. Throughout Blue Lock, Isagi has tapped more and more into his ego. And honestly, it's actually been quite infectious to the other cast of the series, because he just radiates this aura around him that people can't help but gravitate towards, whether it's to, help him fulfill his goals because he's so driven and determined it's inspiring them, or if you're one of his rivals, it makes you elevate to a higher level because you don't want to be outshined by him. You don't want to be outclassed. And honestly, part of the reason why Isagi is able to do this, because as he gets better, he's not afraid to evolve past his current self. And what that means is he's not afraid to reinvent himself as many times as it takes until he gets to, the version that's needed. And as believers, we're born again in Christ, right? That literally means our old selves have to die and we have to be transformed by the Holy Spirit. That's what this whole process is. And it's no different here. We have to be willing to get rid of the old habits, our old mindsets, our old preconceptions of how the world works, of how we think we fit in the world, in order to get to that next level, to continuously improve. Because the person I am today is not the same person I was last year, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, heck, even 10 minutes ago. Constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly improving and getting better. For me, I honestly thought I was doing good for myself, transforming and improving myself, until, God hit me over the head during a time of a reflection. And he showed me that he still has more for me, and that there's still more for me to get done and to improve upon. Now, does that mean I'll be a successful YouTuber who impacts the lives of millions of people daily? I mean, I hope so. It's kind of the point, right? To grow more influence and to impact, more lives. But I'm not in control of that part. That's all God. But what I am in control of is the amount of effort, consistency, and dedication that I put into each and every video, each and every post, each and every, action that I take. I am in control of that. And I had to be willing to go through the painful process of changing who I am into someone that can actually make that dream a reality. Because I say it in a handful of my videos that who you are now isn't capable of reaching the goals that you strive for. In Isagi's case, he does this by constantly, dealing or learning from other players in the series and taking what their talents are and adding it to his own tool belt, I guess. For instance, he learned about off-the-ball movement from Naruhaya. He learned how to shoot with his left foot after training with Kunigami. And he even created, most recently, his two-gun volley after seeing Nagi's amazing juggling shot in their match. And with each of these situations, each of these things, Isagi developed them in order to compensate for his weaknesses. Because again, it's constantly improving, right? And it's this mindset that highlights what Isagi's ego truly is that he's one that devours all in order to be the best striker in the world. I know it sounds crazy to put it that way, but that's literally what it says in the manga. And he's not just bound to just one way of achieving this. He's not tied to just one method or one strategy to improve himself. He used any and everything to his advantage, and he's willing to rebuild himself as many times as it takes to get what he wants. So what about you? Are you willing to go to those lengths to step into all God has for you? Are you willing to transform yourself over and over and over again until you're able to be that person to step in to what's coming next? Because to be honest, I wasn't. I mean, I'm still not. I'm still not truly willing to do that because, let's be honest, that process is painful. It's painful going through that change. It's painful facing yourself, facing your fears, your insecurities, the not so pretty sides of who you are. And it doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. But guess what? That's the only way that you're ever going to have change in your life is by going through that process as many times as it takes. But this can only be brought out when you have actually a certain level of trust in yourself and who you are and your abilities. And as someone who is a huge overthinker and as someone who has had some serious bouts of imposter syndrome, let me tell you that this will be the hardest part for you, is actually giving yourself the credit for the work you've already done to get to where you are now. Because it's part of the process. To get to the next level, you have to recognize where you are right now, and with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so you guys don't know how long it took me to even get to this point, to starting this channel, let alone how many times I almost called off a shoot because I was like, I'm not the person for this. I mean, who am I to be this guru on the internet talking about things that so many other people have more experience than me? But what I've come to realize, and actually what I've heard recently, is that I'm not a guru. I'm here to be a guide. I mean, you guys are watching this video because you want to improve, you want to get better, and you want to know how. And I'm not like Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? I'm not like Gojo. I'm not your sensei. I'm just someone who's still figuring out just like you, but just a little bit further along. And I just want to show you the process that I'm going through right now, just trying to get better with each and every upload, with each and every step that I take. Or like Isagi, in each and every game that he plays, and each and every goal that he scores, he's just getting better and better and becoming more of a threat. And I just kind of want to encourage you to ask yourself these questions. What can I learn from my previous wins and losses? And how can I apply them to this current situation that I'm in? Like for me, when it comes to this whole YouTube thing, I've always always heard that just get 1% better with every upload. What's something that I can improve upon, for myself, whether it's my camera presence, script writing, just talking in general, staying on topic, not going off on tangents, whatever it is that I can just slightly tweak and improve, because it doesn't have to be this grandiose change all at once, because just little improvements here and there are eventually going to make big changes in the end. And honestly, just like Isagi, you're still improving too. And honestly, I can't wait to see what your own evolution is going to look like. So what I want you to do right now is to write down in the comments, what's something that you're working towards, what's something that you're striving for, and use this video as an accountability that you can come back to, a year, 6 months from now down the road and say, hey, I did it, or not yet, but I'm getting closer. And I just want you to remember that it's really only possible to do this if you have the ego to make your desires actually come true, and the dedication to the constant improvement that's necessary to get yourself to the next level. So if you're ready to stop letting life just happen to you and to get out of your own head, and you're ready to actually make a change in your life, then download my free PDF in the description below. Promise you, it's completely free. You're not have to worry about it. You can download it or not. It's really up to you. But I promise you, it's gonna make a huge difference in your life. But honestly, nothing I just said is really gonna matter if you don't check out this video here on selfishness.